Disability and depression do not mix well. Hello, I'm Jim Carrey, and I bet you already forgot my name. Let's start with the poll for the video. Do you have or had a depression? 67% said yes, 33% said no. Do you have or had depression? Let me know in the comments below. Follow me to be in the next poll. Let's discuss depression first. For the ones who never had depression, I'll describe it to you. I would normally go to Daddy Google rounds, but Jim Carrey just had an interview and he described it perfectly. He said, people talk about depression all the time. The difference between depression and sadness is just from happy sands. Whatever happened or didn't happen for you, or grief, or whatever it is. Depression is your body saying, F you. I don't want to be in this character anymore. I don't want to hold up this avatar that you've created in the world. It's too much for me. You should think of the word depressed as deep breaths. Your body needs to be depressed. It needs deep breaths from the character that you've been trying to play. So spot on. Now let's tie it into the disability world. Disability is such a huge spectrum from really minor to totally severe. Let's do a middle of the spectrum for argument's sake. A person with a disability will most likely have this for life. It's not a mindset. It could be psychological or physical or internal. Yes, there are medicines that do help with symptoms or maybe even goes away completely. That's super awesome. But most of the time some aspects will be there. It's a continuous battle. You will have flare days where it could last days, months, or even years. You cannot get rid of it. It stays with you forever. You can't sleep it off or take a magic pill. You can't wait it out or wait till it gets better. Most of the time it doesn't. Even people who do take medicine, it could stop working altogether for no reason, and it's like shit. And of course you don't have one disease. Another one is on a prowl, and it's like a domino effect. It's a tiring battle where your body is fucking you. You can't be mad at anybody because it's nobody's fault. Sure, there are factors of genetics and doctor wrongdoings, or family trauma or outside trauma. Once it's inside you, you have to deal with it. Yes, you can get help, but it's up to you to deal with it. Take the medicine, do the therapy, the exercises, the self-care, the positive or negative way to cope. I don't recommend the negative way because it's a short-term solution. I focus on long-term, but that's just me. Now enter depression. You have depression. You are at a deep rest. The problem then becomes you are limited by your choices. If you are physically able-bodied, you can go for walks or exercises, can do activities to try to alter your mindset. You can run away from your problems. Bad family can leave. Bad relationship can leave. Of course there are variables that you can't leave. Leaving is extremely hard in itself. Depression is also harder to see the red flags too. Enter a disability. You can't leave. The other option is so much worse. Really hard to go find a job. Go even in a downward spiral. You are limited by your disability. Maybe it hurts so much to exercise. Not only depression giving you fatigue, but now your disability too. A double whammy. You are limited by your options. Getting access to help is much harder. People treat you even less with a disability. If you have an invisible illness, you are seen as crazy and go down even further. Less activity to go help slowly get over depression. Harder to have a normal life. Harder to make friends. Money. Just to survive. If you are at the bottom, it is so hard to get out. What do you tackle first? Getting a home? A job? Depression? The disability? The anxiety? The panic attacks? I'm surprised disability and depression is not seen more. Guess it won't make the headlines, because who cares? Around 40% of the population are disabled. That's crazy high. Are there just a bunch of people with depression but disguised by other illnesses? Maybe disability people are given circumstances where they don't have the ability to walk, for example, so it's easier to accept. A regular person with depression has a lot more options to get out. Maybe that's the catalyst. Options. When given less options like confined to a wheelchair, it's easier to access and do what you can given your limitations. Can see other people struggling so it doesn't seem so bad. A regular person sees another person succeeding and it gives them a bad representation. Most disabled people are struggling, so it's relative. Most disabled people are struggling, so it's relatable. It's a given. Isn't it so interesting that there doesn't seem as many disability people with depression? Maybe it's the interaction of peoples, and most of us need help, so we have to ask. Is there a trauma thing where a trauma of something else just trumps over depression? Could be we just have more to lose if we don't get our shit together? A regular person could live a slob for a while and still manage. A person in a wheelchair cannot. Also harder as a disabled person because we have to figure it out since there is no handbook. While regular people can be like, try this and this and this and see what happens. A person with a disability and depression is horrible. You are missing medicine to cope. It's like picking what part of you want to hurt less, cause there are always the goddamn side effects. Maybe more disability people don't have depression and just have shitty circumstances. You can be fatigued or sad but not have depression. Long fatigue and sadness is a sign of depression though, but makes it confusing and tricky. Depression is a mindset, and I think that knowing your life is kind of shit versus having the ability to do anything and you feel like shit is a bigger mind. So interesting. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the morning.